Have you ever wondered why banks sometimes do the things that are not quite clear? In this series, I have Robin Roberts. She's the CEO of Pikes Peak National Bank. She's here to demystify why do banks want to see your ID again? You go, well, why would they want to see my ID? Don't they know me? Well, I thought it might be useful to talk about that process from the bank's perspective. Enjoy. I just got back from my bank this morning, and like always, I wanted to take some funds out, and they wanted to see my ID again. I can't tell you how many times they've asked, pretty much every time. It annoys me almost every time. Robin, why do they ask? Robin is the CEO of Pikes Peak National Bank. She gets asked this question all the time, so we thought we would answer it. Go ahead, Robin.
Yeah, I get more customer complaints about the fact that we asked for their ID than really any other customer complaint. And it really boggles my mind. I mean, we're protecting your financial information and access to your accounts. And for most people, that's either the most important thing to them or the second most important thing to them after their family. I mean, there is their money. And I always equate it to when someone goes into a liquor store or they go to a restaurant and the bartender cards them. They feel so flattered, like, oh, I must look young today. Like someone asked me for my ID. He must have thought I was under 21. And that's not why they asked for the ID. Yes,
under 21. Yeah.
Yes, exactly. So they're flattered when the bartender asks them for their money, for their ID, but when they're actually we're protecting not only their money, but their financial identity. So their social security number, their date of birth, all of their personal information, they get really irritated when we ask for an ID. And often I get, well, don't you know how long I've been banking here? Yes, I do know how long you've been banking here, but the new teller doesn't. I mean, banks have new tellers all the time. It's an entry-level position in our industry, and usually good tellers get promoted. And so then you're going to have a new teller, and the new teller doesn't know you, and they better be asking for your ID because, what if you're going through a divorce and it's your ex-wife is trying, or your soon-to-be ex-wife is trying to access your accounts. We need to look at IDs to know who's authorized to have access to this and who isn't.
It's not optional, is it?
It's not optional, no. And if the bank allowed someone to take money out of your account and didn't ask for an ID, I can promise you, you'd be complaining to me. So it's just the opposite side. It's not about us trying to create inconvenience for you. It's not about us not knowing who you are or appreciating your long-term relationship with us. It's us doing our job. We're protecting your financial information. We're protecting your financial identity, and we're protecting access to your money. So please just give us your ID. And actually, you could thank the teller for asking because they are doing their job.
I think about that as, it's just reframing the question, because I think about, so why did you ask for my ID? It was just, well, the last person that came in and said they were you didn't look like you, and we gave them all your money.
Yeah.
You didn't ask them for my ID? I mean, you think about the flip side of the coin. But I think for folks, it's back to, I think what we've talked about so much, is people don't understand the why behind the ask.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's why we're doing these, and I really appreciate the opportunity, is people don't understand it. We don't have really great financial education, I don't think, in our country, but also banks don't do a really good job of explaining why they do what they do. And when you just explain to someone, hey, this is the reason behind it, then it just makes perfect sense.
Well, at the end of the day, it's back to some of the things we talked about, is you really want, if you can, to have a good business relationship with your bank. And if you're always a pain at the counter, well, they're not going to be happy to see you and probably encourage you to go bank somewhere else at some point. And so it's not conducive to having a good business relationship. So Robin, back to demystifying things. So now when somebody shows up to the bank, says, I'd love to show you my ID. Would you like another? Robin, thanks so much. I truly appreciate it.
Thank you.
You bet.